So our next speaker is going to be talking about creating AI-powered hardware solutions for medical imaging applications. And Jason is Advantech's Associate Director of Embedded Business Development of North America. He's been with Advantech since 2023 and is focused on growing partnerships with Advantech's key technology partners, including NVIDIA. Jason received his MBA from the University of California, Los Angeles Anderson School of Management. Please put your hands together right now for Jason Waldman.
Thank you, and I appreciate you setting the bar high with best for last. So that's
I tried.
Great. So as he mentioned, I'm Jason Waldman. I'm the Associate Director for Embedded Business Development for North America at Advantech. I recognize that I am the last speaker between many of you and dinner, so I'll try and keep it moving. But what I want to talk about today is just everybody talks about software, and software is obviously extremely important when you're talking about AI, and particularly for medical imaging. So it's very important really for this space to create hardware that can help power that software. Before I dive into that though, I want to talk a little bit about Advantech and who we are. So, we were founded back in 1983 in Taipei, Taiwan. Casey Liu is actually our founder, is still our CEO. We are the world's largest IPC company by market share. We have 41% share, 2.1 billion in revenue. Right now, we currently work with 27 of the top 30 medical device makers in North America. So we like to say we're the brand behind the brand. Some of you may know us from that, so we thank you for your partnership. We have a US-based FDA-certified integration facility located just north of here in Milpitas, California. So that's where we do a lot of our last-mile integration of hardware. So I think it's definitely an advantage for us. And lastly, we partner with leading manufacturers and distributors, including NVIDIA, obviously being a big one. We're an elite partner, and also Arrow from a distribution standpoint. So let's talk about AI-assisted imaging. It is the future. I don't think anybody can question that after Jensen's keynote yesterday. This is a quote I pulled from the New England Journal of Medicine, which is historically very conservative. My dad subscribed to it. He was a doctor, pretty conservative, but they did this study with radiologists, and they said that they expect substantial changes in the profession. They believe that AI should have a role as a co-pilot. So very important clarification there. A co-pilot, not running it, acting as a second reader and improving workflow tasks. So what you see on the screen here is a brain image from a patient post-stroke. The green areas is good. The red areas in the image on the left are areas in which there is an issue. You see with these two little red squares right there, those are the areas where the blockages are. All of that was generated by AI on an instantaneous basis as soon as the scan went in. So it is absolutely critical to medicine in the future for accelerating the speed of diagnosis to have this. But the challenge in this is that one solution does not fit everybody. So the image you see up here is three completely different types of images, but all of the chest areas. So the first one is a chest radiograph. The second is a CT scan, and the third is a mammogram. And in all three of these, the output and the results are produced differently. So what that means is you have three different machines requiring three different algorithms and three different outputs. So in this case, you have to have three completely different solutions. You cannot have a one-size-fits-all within this space. One thing is not going to manage the whole thing. So really, it's a two-part solution. Software for us is the knowledge base. That is what is really providing a lot of the solutions based on pre-existing knowledge. But when you think about it just in terms of medical, hardware is really the nervous system. At the end of the day, that's the part that is really guiding the diagnosis, interpreting the data, and providing the feedback. So the way we look at this, so the left side of the brain, if you think of it this way, is the CPU. That's where the logic and reasoning happens. That's initially where it starts at. But obviously, you can't have the left side of the brain without the right side of the brain, which is where the insight and the intuition comes in. And this is where the GPU is really important. The GPU is ultimately what is going to take the data, look at it, and really take care of a lot of the intuition and the inference of it. The last part of it, though, and the biggest thing, is the spine. So the motherboard is what is going to essentially help gather the feedback, bring it in, and then feed it back out, feed it into the brain. So that's ultimately what is going to enable the system to do the proper work, is the spine. Because all the peripherals, your cameras, your sensors, your scopes, everything is going to direct those signals directly to the motherboard, which is then going to direct them to the brain for interpretation. So that is really kind of the critical piece of it, and that's why hardware is so critical to this particular space. So when we try to build the right system, we have a series of questions that we try to ask. So The first thing and the most basic is what is the application and use case. So in a lot of cases, we work with companies that have an idea around the software, and they come to us and say, hey, look, we have this great idea. We need to implement it. Okay, well, what's the use case for it? We start there. What software is it going to need to run? What environment is it going to be in? Is it going to be in an area where it's going to get plenty of power? Is it going to be in a sterile environment like an OR where you may need some special certifications? And then what certifications will it need? Then how much compute power will you need? So this is important. So these are where the specs come in and where our solution architects will start to build the system. CPU, GPU, RAM, all critical. Is there power and temp constraints? And then also, will the requirements change in the future? Do you need to have that ability to go back in and maybe swap out a GPU or a CPU, swap out memory, do things to kind of future-proof the technology? So all of that is extremely critical. And lastly, what's going to connect to it? So this is where you get into things like I/O ports. There's a lot of times when these one-size-fits-alls that you see out there will have plenty of I/O ports. You may only need, it may have 6 USBs, you may need 2 of them. It may have something like a VGA port. Nobody's used a VGA port in the last 10 years, so you don't really need that. So you really need to have the right things in there instead of having just everything under the sun. Expansion capabilities. We talked about additional GPUs. We've talked about additional memory. You may need capture cards, things like that. And then does it need to have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth? Is this going to be wireless, or is an RJ45 cable connection going to be enough? So all that helps us build in a system. So what you see on the screen here is our USM 500 computer. This is 60601 certified. We custom build these for a wide variety of different customers. So what you see on the back here with the inputs, that's kind of the standard, but this will change depending on the customer and the requirement. What you'll have for an endoscopic function is going to be completely different from what you may have from an example I'm going to show you in a couple minutes here. So that's going to be really critical to develop that properly. The nice thing about this one, too, is we do the last mile integration, again, just north of here in Milpitas. So all this is done locally in an FDA-certified facility. It's really a great way to kind of make sure that we're producing the right thing. We do all of our testing on site as well. So the case study I want to talk about today is a company called Kaliber AI. So NVIDIA actually brought us the opportunity with Kaliber. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but basically Kaliber specializes in orthopedic and arthroscopic surgeries. What they'll do is they wanted to create a full suite that can go from the very pre-op procedure all the way through post-op, providing both a better surgeon and patient experience. So, you know, as we look through this, so from pre-op, it starts with real-time communication, planning, and collaboration between the patient and the care team. This is something that kind of happens already, but it's all within, you know, their suite of products. During the surgery, that's where I'm going to spend a little bit more time on, but AI-powered interoperative toolkit providing real-time assistance and feedback in the OR. Think again about the co-pilot. It's not doing the surgery, but it's going to help to kind of guide it along and provide sort of that trust but verify factor. And then lastly is the post-op. Personalized reports including AI-labeled surgical images to assist in post-op care as well as physical therapy. So, you know, as we talk through this area during surgery, this is obviously the most critical part of the process. If the surgery doesn't go well, none of this other stuff is going to matter because there's going to be complications afterwards. So what you need in the OR, so number one, it has to continually be processing data throughout the procedure. You cannot have downtime. You cannot have delays. You cannot have things happen in the middle of it where, you know, you have to restart the computer because Microsoft put an update out there. So that's thing one. Real-time feedback with no delays, meaning you have to have edge, not cloud. If you have cloud, there's latency, and latency in an OR is a very bad thing. You do not want the surgeon waiting to see what the image is going to be appearing on the screen as he's operating on you. It also has to be able to quickly learn and adapt on the fly to provide the best direction. That's something that, you know, we're all working towards. We want to make sure that this is up to date, has the latest and greatest. So you want to make sure that you have that on the fly in the OR as soon as possible. And then lastly, and this kind of goes without saying, but it's important, it has to be medical grade hardware. 60601 certification, very important, and that's for a wide variety of reasons, but basically that's a very important thing. So how we partnered with NVIDIA and Kaliber on this was, you know, Kaliber came to us and they had the software platform all developed within the HoloScan SDK. So they used the HoloScan, created their application through NVIDIA, really did a great job developing it. But they needed things like what we talked about: real-time data processing and analytics, low latency, low power. There's a lot of things in the OR. You can't have one thing taking up all of the power within there. And then obviously we talked about medical grade hardware. So again, this is where we came in and developed a solution that had our USM 500, the medical grade workstation for use in hospitals and ORs around the world. And we paired that with an NVIDIA RTX 6000 because in order to achieve what Kaliber was looking for, we had to go with a top-end GPU solution. Make sure that they could get everything properly diagnosed and properly done as quickly as possible. So the results of it are pretty spectacular, but I don't want to show you that necessarily here because we are in the healthcare pavilion actually running a live demo for this. So you'll be able to see right in person how this works, what the interface looks like, what the doctor sees, and be able to the surgeon sees, and you'll be able to kind of get an idea of exactly how Kaliber works, not only from the during the surgery, but also after, and how it can really help enable better patient care as we go through. So, I'll close this by just saying that, it's been great being at GTC. We've learned a lot. We have some exciting things in the works right now, and I think the biggest thing, when you talk about the future of medical hardware, right now the USM 500 kind of has a standard board in it, but in Q4 of this year, we're excited to announce that we are going to be powered by an NVIDIA IGX internally. So that's going to be brand new for us. It's the first one we have out there, and it's something that we are extremely excited about because, as we've seen throughout this, the future, we believe, is in AI. It's with NVIDIA, it's with IGX, and it's with all the other great solutions that they provide. And we are right along for the ride, providing the great hardware solutions that everybody needs. So with that, I will not keep you from dinner any longer, but please stop by the rest of the show, see us in the healthcare pavilion, and hope you enjoy and have a great show. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. I'll take that from you. Very nice. Folks, that concludes today for our Expo Theater. Hopefully you had a chance to have Danielle scan your badge. Come see us tomorrow. We're starting again at noon. In the meantime,